All right, it's Pippin, and I am talking to Monet's Pond, the lovely Brigette for Livewire. How are you this
Hi,
afternoon?
I'm so good. I'm so good. I'm really full though. Like I just ate so much curry, so my stomach does not feel good.
Yum. What kind of curry are we talking about? Like Indian
Chickpea
curry?
curry,
Oh, yum.
coriander, all the good stuff.
So good. Yeah, it's your
Yeah.
day off today. What are you getting up to?
Oh, just like such boring stuff, like house stuff, like adult stuff, like vacuuming and stuff.
Yeah.
And some music, hopefully. I'm hopefully like trying to do some of that today while I've got the time. So
Yeah. Sometimes
yeah,
that adult stuff, though, although it's boring, it just sets the entire week up to be just exactly
yeah,
what you need it to be. Like if I know that my washing's put away, that the
mhm,
kitchen's
mhm.
clean, I'm like, okay, this week's gonna be
Yeah.
fine. And then you can
Just having the
create.
time to reflect. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I like to have some time every week to kind of reflect and be able to like look inwards and
Mm.
quiet all the noise that happens outside. So whether that's like cleaning, journaling, meditating, going on a walk, like I try and do that on a regular basis.
Yeah. Do you feel like that feeds into your creative side? Like the do you need if
Mhm.
you can't really be creative unless you have that reflective time?
Mm, yeah, I definitely think so. I've tried in the forced past to force things, um, try and force things to happen creatively, and I've just found that's not really how it works. I mean, I can kind of, the only thing that's in my control is really um, putting myself in the position where I am able to create and I'm in the right mind state. So, you know, even if that's like listening to music and like stepping outside into nature, I feel like that's really important. Because if I'm like stuck in a room, like a stale ass room and trying to like push music out of me, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. I feel like this is a really good segue because obviously we're coming to chat about your new single, To Feel Alive,
Yeah.
which do you feel like that's kind of what the message of the song is, what you've just said?
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say for me it kind of I guess has become a reoccurring theme along a lot of my music. Yeah, just reflecting inwards. Um, because I think when you are too focused on everything around you and don't focus on the inside, it's kind of you can kind of forget that there's so much that you can do that's within your control to
Mm.
change your circumstances, change where you're at currently. And yeah, I was feeling kind of really stale, and I kind of really felt like I needed to water myself. And I felt like I wasn't doing that much to really change how I was feeling. So it was kind of, I guess, a reminder to me to check in to myself and to really realize that I have the power to, you know, for so much. I have the power for so much to do so much,
Yeah.
like I can change my mind state and like where I'm at currently. So that's kind of where I was at when I wrote it. I don't know if that made any sense,
No, it definitely
but
did. I think that's something
yeah.
interesting that, yeah, I feel like I'm always experimenting with because you really do have more control of your mindset than you think that you do. And it can be really easy
Mhm.
sometimes, I think, when we're creating music, especially
Mm,
to become so outwardly focused on like results
mm,
basis instead of
mm.
reminding ourselves that the reason that we love creating is this catharsis of like coming home to yourself and processing things
Yeah,
as you're going through
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely that, and it was also just you know me realizing that you know, often just simple actions will help, you know,
Yeah.
like what we were talking about earlier. Like I love nature, and I think it's really important for me, well, probably for most people, but especially for myself. Like it's a big part of what grounds me is just like being in nature. And yeah, I feel like it's really important. And just to like really notice your thoughts and try and not judge them too much. Yeah. Also, one other thing I would like to add um, was the first moment that inspired the song was I kept having dreams that my teeth were falling out,
Ah,
and
yeah, that means some fun
then
stuff.
and I mean I've had that for as long as I can remember, and apparently it is quite a common dream, which I think is really crazy that, you know, so many people are having the same sort of dreams. But anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. Um, Googled it, said that I was stressed and had a fear of losing control and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, oh, do I? Do I?
Interesting. Let's dig deeper.
So yeah, that kind of inspired the lyric in the second verse.
Mm. Yeah, amazing. I'd love to talk a little bit more about the recording process of this song, because I know that you worked, there are a couple of different iterations of it, and you worked with a couple of people
Yeah,
and recorded some
yeah,
live drums and all that kind of stuff. So can you talk me through
yeah.
that process?
Yeah, it was such a long the longest I've ever taken to create a song. Like it was such a process with so many people that helped it come into fruition. So I wrote the song originally in the start of 2021,
Mm.
and I was actually messing around with, I was trying to find different ways to write. I was trying to inspire myself. So I was actually just messing around with the organ from Gypsy Woman. She's homeless. And I
Yeah.
was chopping that up and like rearranging it, pitching it down. And I ended up coming up with like those chords and the verses and stuff like that. I ended up having to change it because I didn't want to have to clear the sample.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's kind of how it started on my end. And then yeah, wrote the chorus and stuff. I didn't have the ending until later. Um, and then I kind of was just by myself trying to work on it for such a long time, and I just wasn't happy with where it was at. So I asked my really good friend Ethan to help me out with it. And we worked on it for, I think, since October, September last year until maybe like April this year.
Mm.
So that was such a long process, yeah, because there were live drums as well that I recorded with my friend Hugh as well. So just adding those in as well, that was a big challenge because there was so much, like so many layers, and he did such a good job of giving everything space
Mm.
without everything sounding too overwhelming. You know, like you're getting whacked over the head with like 50 million synths and stuff, because I tend to like to add a lot of synths and
Yeah.
can kind of go overboard with the synths sometimes.
Never.
So yeah, I love synths. I love synths.
They
Like
just add so
so
much
good.
richness. They always sound so good.
I love synths. Like if you couldn't tell by now, um, I love synths. But yeah, I was so lucky because I also got my good friend Tex as well playing drums, and he was in the bands as well. Damo as well, who was in the band
Yeah.
playing on bass. My good friend Harper as well did some background vocals in the chorus, which I think added so much like lushness to it. So I was just so
Mm.
grateful to have like a lot of my friends like having their like finger and personal touch into it. It was just, yeah, it was so special, I feel like.
Sometimes that's the best part. I find that to be like the best part about making music. Like I know some people really like to create in isolated instances where they are just in the studio by themselves and it's all their work and they're playing everything. But I think the best part about creating is the community and like having people involved in what you're doing. You know, there's like that saying, like it takes a village to raise a child, but I reckon it takes a village to record a song. Like there's so much depth to be had, and then you all get to share in the awesomeness. Like when it's released, you all get to know that you were a part of creating and building this thing, which I think is really, really cool. I love that. I hope that you continue that when I know you're recording more music now. Like, you reckon that's changed the process? Because this song's really interesting. I feel like it's like this perfect middle ground between your other two releases. Do you feel like it's kind of helped shape?
I feel that too. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just I see, like, I've known you for ages, and I feel like it's just this natural progression of just somewhere in the middle, in this like beautiful like synth pop realm. It's really dreamy and lovely, which is what I think about when I think of you, but it's got some of those really interesting like more electronic production elements, which is really cool. Do you feel like this has shaped kind of the new sound, like going forward with the new stuff that you're making? Is it sort of in this ballpark?
It's funny because it's kind of always what I wanted to create, but I never really knew how to get there and how to blend everything because I just listen to so much different music, and for me, I don't know if I really am trying to define myself by, you know, a box and that sort of thing, a sound, you know. I've just never really gravitated towards it, and I try not to aim for that because I just feel like it limits you. So yeah, I really just wanted to, I just love like lo-fi drums, harder drums. I love like Pharrell, and I love Solange's drums, the hip hop sort of thing, mixed with like the psychedelic elements and like the soulful chords as well. Just all mixed in together, and I feel like it was a good blend of everything. I'm really proud of all I kind of got in there, and I feel like it doesn't feel like too much, or at least I don't feel like it's too much.
No, I don't think so. It's a perfect amount of everything that it is. I really like the visual artwork for this track as well, and I'm wondering if we can just finish off on like talking about that and what it was like creating that visual artwork. I know you worked with my favorite Brisbane photographer Tom to create that. What was that experience like?
That was great. That was really good because I had quite a specific vision of a color palette that I heard when I was listening to this. Like for me, you know, my last song was very pink in my head, and it was very soft and floral and all that. But this one felt like, because of how lush it was, it felt like you're bathing in like a marbled rainbow pool. And that's kind of what I wanted to portray, and I felt like that image that Tom took along with like the edit really kind of represented the color palette of the song, or at least in my head. So I think he did such a good job. He is so great to work with.
He's so an incredibly creative human. I really like, I think he kind of maybe leaned into, I don't even know if this was a deliberate choice, but like it was like looking at a photographed Monet painting in a way, like the way that the blending and that like impressionist kind of but it was done through photography. It's just really interesting to see and
Yeah,
know
I
that.
really like that because I'm not really a huge fan of I mean I've done it and like, you know, I'll probably do it in the future, but I'm not a huge fan of just standing in front of like a backdrop, you know, a white backdrop, you know, and like I like to involve, you know, like I like to involve a lot more um I guess symbolism or yeah, color into the art that I'm making, and that's completely his style. So I feel like it just worked perfectly, and he really
Yeah,
challenged me too. Like he was getting me to do a lot of like poses and faces I would never do. Like
yeah.
he was trying to get me to be more angry when we were shooting, which was really cool because I feel like I always have the same expression, which is literally nothing. It's just blank expression.
I think
And
that's
I do
cool
it
though.
for
You
every
want to be
photo.
challenged, create like you're already
Yeah.
challenged
And I
creatively
thought it
in
was really
music
cool
and
because I got
doing
some
that.
really like weird images out of it too. So I'm really excited to share those as well.
Yeah. Oh, so excited to hear. Hey, thank you so much for talking to me today. I can't wait to
Oh, thank
hear what else you have in store. And just, yeah,
you.
always appreciate your candid and vulnerable nature. You put so much into everything that you do. And I think that, yeah, you're just incredibly inspiring. And the song is so good. It's so
Oh,
epic. And I hope that
thank you so
you're able to
much.
bask
That's
in the
so sweet.
release.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
That's okay. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Bye.